Hi everybody, this is Mike from Better Me, and it's really exciting to be back with you guys today because as the holidays are approaching, I wanted to put together a little video about credit cards and spending. Because I know it's hard when you have credit cards, it's really hard not to spend. And around the Christmas time, the same thing with me, I really want to buy everybody everything they want on their wish list, and it's really hard not to spend. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. So the first thing is, we want to not overspend on our credit cards. I know it's easier said than done, but as we start to overspend on our credit cards, what's tends to happen is we get stuck in what's called a trap. I like to call it the trap, the credit card trap. And so the more we spend, the higher our credit card bills start to become, and the higher interest we get on our credit cards, the higher interest payments we have to make to the credit card companies. And then for some people, it's almost impossible to come out of that trap because our balance is so high. That means the interest payments are so high. And so a lot of credit card companies today, they're charging anywhere between 20 to 30% interest on the credit cards, depending on what type of credit cards they are. Maybe they're department store credit cards, maybe they're other types of credit cards, but today the interest rates are out of control. So we want to make sure when we're looking at Christmas, when we're looking at the holidays, that we're trying not to overspend. And in some cases, the interest that these credit card companies are charging, they're actually compounding the interest daily. So the second thing is we want to pay it off. So it's really difficult sometimes, especially these days, for certain folks to really pay their credit cards off at the end of every month. And I completely understand that. There's a lot of people out there that's going through a lot of tough times, especially now with everything that's going on in our economy. But it's really important that we spend on our credit cards, that we actually pay that off as quickly as we can, because if we let that balance move into the next month, we're actually paying for interest charges. So it's really cool. If we get to actually pay it off at the end of the month, we can use the credit cards for what they're actually meant to do, which is actually give us rewards, give us perks, give us cash back. But if we're paying interest on top of that, then it really kind of negates all the rewards that we're actually trying to get with those credit cards. So the next one is, we want to use the rewards. So some credit cards out there, they give you amazing rewards. They give you cash back, they give you perks on hotels, they give you perks on rental car rentals. Some of the cards you have to pay for, some of the cards you don't. The ones that you have to pay for, they usually give you the best rewards, like concierge services and other kinds of cool perks. Especially when you travel, you get to join the different clubs and different executive programs that they offer. But the ones that you don't have to pay for, they give you really cool rewards too. And again, if we're paying a ton of interest on top of what we're spending on the credit card, then it kind of cancels out the rewards that those credit cards are giving you. So it's really important, check and see the rewards that your credit cards are actually giving you. Check the fine print of your credit cards to make sure that you qualify for the rewards that you're getting for what you're spending. And definitely, like I said, take advantage of those rewards as much as you can. Especially the credit card companies that offer you points for certain things like hotel stays and for airline miles. Those can be huge, especially around the holiday time when you might want to travel. So the next one is, can you afford it? So this is really huge, especially in this country, because what this country is really we're a credit-based society. We're a credit-based economy, and what that means is if you make $100,000 per year, that technically means that if you're approved for it, you can spend, let's say, $110,000 per year, right? So you make $100,000 per year, you go and you get a credit card, they approve you for a $10,000 limit, and now not only can you spend all of your $100,000 that you make at your job, but you can actually spend up to $110,000 because you can spend the $10,000 that you actually got from the credit card company. So the question is, when you're using credit, can you afford it? And what's your metric when you're looking at that? So do you say to yourself, well, if I can't buy it twice over in cash, I'm not going to use a credit card. If I can't buy it once over in cash, I'm not going to use a credit card. Or do you say, well, I'm just going to go ahead and spend it now, and because I can do monthly payments, I'm going to go ahead and pay that off because it's going to be easier for me to absorb the cost. And that's what a lot of people do in this country, and that's why credit card debt is so outstanding today in this country, is because people will buy things like televisions, things like holiday gifts, all that kinds of stuff, and then what they'll do is they'll make the payments monthly over time. And as they make the payments monthly over time, they're also paying interest on those payments, on those things that they bought, or they're also paying penalties if they were late on those payments. So with the interest and with the penalties, sometimes that can really add up, and we can start getting in that trap that I talked about earlier. So it's really important to be able to pay that off as soon as possible by the end of the month. And the next one is spending less, earning more, and investing. So those are the three things. And I know it's probably easier said than done, but spending less, really being conservative on your spending. Like if you don't have it to spend and you need to use the credit card, well, maybe it shouldn't be something that's spent. right? I know the holiday season is approaching, and I know people want to buy gifts for other people, but really at this point, if you can't afford it, maybe it's something that can wait, or maybe it's something where you can buy something a little bit smaller for someone or spend a little bit less because you actually can't afford it and need to put it on the credit card. It can be just a dangerous slope when we start to use our credit and we don't pay the credit cards off at the end of the month, and we start actually accruing interest, and that interest gets larger and larger and larger, and then it becomes something so insurmountable that we can't pay it off. So rule of thumb is, if you really can't afford it in cash, maybe don't buy it on the credit card, or maybe buy something smaller that you can actually afford. So the next one is earning more. So I talked about this before in my other videos, creating a side hustle for yourself, looking at other ways to be able to make money, maybe a certain sales job, or maybe something else that you could do part-time to go ahead and make money. So on top of maybe your full-time job, working something really small on a smaller part-time basis, maybe on the weekends or something like that, to earn a little bit of extra income, especially around the holidays, so that you can afford to be able to maybe put something on your credit card, buy it now, get paid later by that second job, and be able to pay that off by the end of the month. And then investing. So investing is super important because it creates passive income. Now, if you're investing, I know for me, when I'm investing, I like the buy and hold strategy, where I'm buying something like an indexed ETF, for example, and I'm holding it for the long term. And no matter what the market does, whether it's up or whether it's down, it's okay, because I'm leaving it in there for the long term, hoping that eventually in the long term, I'm going to see a gain from my investment, and it's going to be a passive gain. So guys, I hope this information helped. Please like the channel, please subscribe. If you have any questions, please comment on the bottom. If you need to reach me, it's info@5pillarfinancial.com. That's info@5pillarfinancial.com. And until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next video.